Hi everyone, so in this video I'm going to talk to you about my opinion on how many pages you need on your website before you hit that publish button. It's something I've heard a lot of people talking about in the forums, and I think that there's a really simple, clear-cut answer to this question that I think people right at the beginning stages really need to hear. So in this video I'm going to share with you three things. I'm going to compare two different strategies for starting new sites, both strategies that I've used. I'll show you my strategy that I'm currently using, and I'll share with you the revenue for one of my sites after 10 months. On top of that, I'm going to show you one of my websites for the first time. So this is what I did with my first ever website. I waited to upload 30 articles. So I wrote all 30 of those articles and got them as perfect as possible, got them all looking nice for my customers to come and see the website, and then I finally hit that publish button. And it was a really scary moment hitting that publish button for the first time to get my website live to the world. And then there were crickets. It was a long time before I saw any real visitors. And it really disappointed me. It got me downhearted because I was putting together a finished product and pushing it out into the world as a completed product, expecting people to love it straight away. And you can see here on the screen, this is the first 30 days of traffic. I had 307 sessions, 156 users, and my bet is 155 of them were me because I hadn't set Google Analytics up properly at that time to block my IP address, so it thought that I was one of the visitors. My takeaway from that experience was it's really disheartening when you publish a whole lot of articles expecting to send out this finished product and for it to be, people to love it, and the reality is once you press that publish button, nothing's going to happen at all. The publish button's the start of the journey, not the end. This is what ended up happening to that website. For the first 6 months, there were absolute crickets. There was no one coming to my website because what we have is that's the Sandbox Effect, where Google doesn't like publishing articles from brand new sites for the first 6 months of the site's life. But after September of that year, I finally started to see some growth, and then by 9 months, so 3 months after I started to see that growth, I was getting 100,000 visitors a month. But it was a whole 6 months of waiting before that ever happened. So the takeaway from this is that you really shouldn't be too precious about pressing that publish button. No one's going to come and visit your website anyway. So here's what I do nowadays. I do what I call my indexing strategy. And I actually did this for one of my websites today. For my indexing strategy, I think ahead and I index my website for a project that I'm going to work on in about 4 to 6 months' time. So right now I've got about 4 months of articles to write for my current website, but I know in about 4 or 5 months that project is going to wind up and I'm going to be ready to move on to my next project. And when I move on to my next project, I don't want to wait those 6 months for someone to come. So I've indexed and got my site live waiting for that time when I'm ready to start on that next project that I know I'm going to start seeing traffic earlier because I've gotten through that sandbox a little bit. So what I do now is I write 5 articles, and then I wait somewhere between 4 and 6 months, and then I start working on my website. Now, if you're brand new and you've only got one website, you can index it and you can start publishing articles straight away. But if you're like me and this isn't your first website or you've got a whole lot of things at work going on at the moment, don't let that stop you. Publish your website today with 1 or 2 articles on it. So I'll show you one of my websites now where I'm actually got that website sitting in that indexing phase. So here it is, paddleboardpassion.com. Now, I'm probably not actually going to work on this website because I've come up with some other projects with better keywords since then, but I indexed this website maybe a couple of months ago now, and if we scroll down you can see it may look familiar. This is WP Eagle's template for Elementor. If you scroll down you can see there's only 2 articles on this website, and then that's it. And you can click into those 2 articles, you can see what's going on. A little bit of best stand-up paddleboarding thing for one time when I went down to Mexico and did a bit of paddleboarding in the sunset. But once I'd written those 2 articles for Paddleboard Passion, I made sure that I indexed those 2 articles. So what I would recommend is just putting a website up, putting up 2 articles today, And all I do is once I've got Google Search Console set up for my website, I insert the URL in this top section up here, and then I press enter. And then it'll have a URL inspection and it'll say URL is not on Google, and I'll click request indexing. And then once you press request indexing, it should say the URL is now on Google with that green circle. And then once you've done that, you're done. You can sit back and you can wait, knowing that your website is slowly aging in the eyes of Google's. Now let me show you a case study from one of my websites. It's website number 2 in my monthly income reports. So in this website, I realized that I was going to start doing this website or this niche in August. So I put up 6 posts and then I waited. During that wait, I was working on website number 1. Maybe you might have to wait because you might be busy at work or something. But I was working on website number 1, building it up. And then come February, 7 months into that website's life, I published 9 posts. And then in March, I published 24 posts. And then in month 9, I published 22 posts. Month 10, I published 16 posts. Suddenly I had close to 80 posts on that website. Here's what happened in terms of my revenue from Amazon affiliates. In February, I was making $19. Remember, I'd only just started publishing articles. I only had 6 articles on the website at that point. And then March, I had $78. And then April, $144. And then May, $330. And this month, we're only halfway through the month, but we've already beaten last month. So I'm expecting it to get close to $700 this month. And we're continuing to double our revenue month on month. So the website was not negatively affected by the fact that I'd put it up and just left it there. And if people came and visited it, which a few people did, it didn't really matter that much to me. So the second takeaway that I think you should take from this video about when you should publish your website is that time is the main factor for getting out of that sandbox and starting to develop revenue. So every day that you're waiting to press that publish button is another day that you're pushing out your success. So in my opinion, if you haven't got your website up and indexed on Google, every single day you're spending now is pure procrastination. It's pure waste of time. If you think that you need 30 articles, I 100% disagree. You need 1, 2, or 3 articles up on your website right now, because the day that you index your website is day 0 for your project. Now I'm going to be a little bit cheeky right now, and I'm going to leave a link to a host in the doobly-doo below. It's an affiliate link, so if you use it, I will get a little bit of money back. But if I have convinced you that you need to get your domain up and on the internet today, because today is going to be your day 0 for your project, I'd appreciate it if you use that link and I'll get a little bit of money back from them. Now guys, as always, I'd love to hear a comment on your opinion on this topic below or any questions that you have. I've been blown away by the amount of engagement on this YouTube channel since I've gotten it started. So if you haven't made a comment yet and you've watched a couple of videos, I would love to hear especially from you in the comments below.